It's Dan Latto speaking. We're live. Hope you're well today. So let's talk to you about personal development. Just make sure this camera's there. There we go. That'll do. So let's talk about personal development because I think this is a really important conversation to have. And in 2020, it seems to me that some people are afraid of personal development because it makes them look weak or it makes them look inefficient or as though there was something missing from them. And so my experience of it for the last 20 years has been that actually personal development has enabled it to allow the person to be revealed, if you like. The person is always there underneath, but it's like, so let me tell you a story. So when you're first born, you cry and you puke and you poo, but your parents pick you up and they still love you, okay? And they'll continue to love you no matter what you do, and everyone coos over you and you're an amazing thing and everybody loves you, okay? And then when you get older, you get to 6 or 7, you get into trouble, then you're classed as a naughty kid or ADHD or whatever you want to call people these days. And then we get to 13, 14, and then there's worse stuff going on, and you've got to fight for any attention. And it's even worse now in 2020 with all the social media stuff that we've got going on. And all this time, while all this stuff is happening, from the age of like 2 months when everybody loves you and just giving you love no matter what you do, up to the age of 15, 18, 48, where you have to battle to just even be seen or be noticed. Every time that happens, the shining brightness that's inside of you is covered over little by little by little. And this is why people have issues when they get older, is because they have, we call them self-esteem issues, because that light that was shining has darkened in some way. And personal development uncovers those years of crap and shit and muck and low self-esteem. It clears it and it releases the light that's in you and allows it to shine again. And so that's how I see personal development. And when I see people in certain groups online, and they're taking a piss basically out of people doing Tony Robbins or happy clappy and standing up and dancing on stage when they go to events, and they're poo-pooing all those people, and yet them themselves are fucking failures. Pardon my French. But it's true, and the failures in everything, and then looking at other people pointing the finger and saying, well, you're useless and you're an idiot, and then they take the mick out of how people look and how people are and how people speak and how people perform and everything, okay? From how they look to how they perform, everything and anything. They pull over their social media pictures and they take the piss out of everything. And it's like, that's not what personal development is about. Personal development is about you finding yourself and you expressing yourself in the best way that you can, in a way that doesn't harm anybody else. And when I see some of these other groups and they're talking about, and there's some online forums, especially in the property, you do anything in property, you on the forum, and anyone who's had anything to do with you or not will come onto that forum and say something bad about you. And it's like, if that's what you want to do, that's fine, but it doesn't serve them to do it. But there's another side of this, which is the personal development, which is a very positive thing to do. And there's a video that I saw a couple of days ago, and it's talking about personal development, about how bad it is, and he was jumping up and down, and his problems still hadn't gone away. But that's not the personal development's fault. That's the person going through it. Maybe, I've done some training, and the training, I didn't get the learnings from the training until like 10 years later. It took 10 years for me to learn certain things about myself. But even now at age 48, I'm still working through and going, hang on a minute. Oh, I understand that bit now. And the key for you is to start looking at, where do you want to be? What are the things that are going to get you there? Like, what are the resources? So, for example, if you've got a negative mindset and you want to be driving around in Ferraris and Lamborghinis and having £10 million of property in 10 years' time, but you've got this lousy mindset, that's probably not going to be the thing that's going to get you to where you want to be. And if your environment, and by environment I mean the people that you live with, the people you hang around with, your friends, your family, if they're not a positive place and the level of conversation that you're having with those people is low level, you're talking about Love Island with your friends, in 10 years' time you're going to be talking about Love Island with your friends, okay? A conversation I had last night it was on Facebook Messenger, we're talking about Section 24 and tax and how to restructure the whole lot to avoid paying so much tax in a method that's legal and ethical and all the rest of it. So like in 10 years time, we'll still be having those level of conversations, but are higher up because we've saved on the tax. Whereas if you're talking about Love Island, in 10 years time, you're just going to talk about a different season of Love Island. That's the level of conversation that you're having right now. And that's probably not going to be the thing that's going to get you to where you want to be in the next 10 years time. And I'm not saying that you should never talk about Love Island, because maybe you want to talk about Love Island. Maybe that is your little thing that gets you out of work, and it's your little rest area. So for example, I'm rewatching Battlestar Galactica. Love it. Love good bit of sci-fi. Absolutely love it. And that for me is my getting out of work and just not calming down, but just coming out of work to go into the evening and so on. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't watch that stuff. If you want to watch Love Island, great, watch it. But just understand that the habits that you're forming today will have an effect on your future in 10 years' time. And so if you're talking about personal development, the books that I read 20 years ago are responsible for where I am today. I don't even know what the heck I read 20 years ago. I don't know what the book was. I can't remember what the learnings were, but they were relevant at that time, whatever it was I was happening to be going through at that time. The books that I read today, or any personal development that I take on today, is going to be responsible or partly responsible for where I get to in the next 10 years' time. And so you can tell who's going to be wealthy in 10 years. Tell me what you're reading right now. What are you listening to? What are you researching? What are you educating yourself over? What are your habits? And I can tell you what you're going to be in 10 years' time and where you're going to be. And if your habits are Love Island, Big Brother, if it still exists, sci-fi, which I love, if it's going to be that, and it's 90% of all that, in 10 years' time, you ain't going to be doing anything. You're still going to be bitching and moaning on online forums, on Facebook groups, that other people who have done 10 million quid in the next 10 years, well, they were lucky, or they're ripping people off, and I see it all the time. It's ridiculous. I remember a girlfriend, and we were talking about being in sales, and she's going, oh no, I couldn't sell somebody something that they didn't want to buy. I'm like, you've got this completely wrong idea of what sales is. Sales is matching up what you want with what the customer needs and making sure it's a good match. That's what it means. And I see this happening all the time. People mix up these messages and they get them confused and get them inaccurate. And they think, if you're writing a plan that makes you generate £10 million a year in business revenue with a 40% net profit, you're making 4 million quid a year, people think that you have to step on the backs of other people. It's like, no, it's completely opposite to that. You have to help as many people get what they want, and that will enable you to get what you want. But personal development is going to form part of that. Now, some people don't need personal development. They wake up on a morning, they've got a spring in their step, nothing bad has ever happened to them, and they get up and they can't understand, why do you need personal development? We all work at different places, at different paces, and that's totally fine. And you might work faster than me, or I might work faster than you, and that's totally fine too. So we're all going on our own journeys. And I also think it's important to understand that we shouldn't be comparing. Like, you shouldn't compare your journey with my journey, because it's a different journey. It's not even the same vehicle. We've had kids abducted, for crying out loud, and I would hope that you've not had that. But that's the journey that we've been on. And you might have had something equally as bad happen to you, health-wise or relationship-wise or family-wise or whatever, right? We're all on these different journeys, and you cannot compare one person's journey with another person's journey. You can't go, oh, well, I want to be like Elon Musk. You're not Elon Musk. You've not gone through what Elon's gone through. Likewise, Elon Musk hasn't gone through what you've gone through. Plus, you're operating at different levels. Your IQ is going to be different. Your assessment of risk, I would say Elon's quite a risky entrepreneur. He likes taking on the risk, but what he does is he takes those risks, calculates them, and brings those risks down to an acceptable level. That's how he's growing his business and moving his business forward. He fails forward faster than anybody else on the planet right now, I would suggest. His last rocket that went up a couple of years ago now, The rocket that went up, he had one attempt left before SpaceX went bust, and it worked. That's his attitude to risk. Most people would not take that attitude to risk. Obviously, the longer the time goes and the more intellectual property he's got and the more they learn about making rockets and electric cars, the lower the risk is going to be. And that's the same for you as well. So I put a post in my private Facebook group earlier, and we're talking about Forex. We've had a good Forex month. We're up 21%. We increased it from, I can't remember the numbers, from £298 to £360. We're in at 10 pence a pip. That's my level of risk on Forex because I'm crap at it. It's one of the things that I cannot get right. I do really well, then I lose all the money. Do really well, lose all the money. So we're trying to break that mold. To break that mold, that might take us another 10 years. We're 48, we'll be 58. Some people will go, well, you're nearly dead, so what's the point? Which is crazy because we're all living till 100. But the way in which we lower the risk is by increasing our knowledge, our experience. If you're starting out in property right now and you don't know what you're doing, that's okay. Keep trying it. Keep doing it. Keep getting things wrong. This is what Elon does. He fails forward. You should fail forward. We're trying to buy businesses right now. We've had some successes and we've had some failures, and we will continue to have successes and we will continue to have failures in that arena. We're growing the digital marketing agency. We're going to have successes in that part and we're going to have failures in that part. But fall forward as often as you can, just like Elon has done. Warren Buffett is in his, I don't know what he is, he's in his 80s, whatever he is, right? So with someone like Warren Buffett, he's had the last 60 years to get everything right for Berkshire Hathaway to continue to grow. And all that information that he's read for the last 60 years, the, 500 business reports a year he reads. I think it's probably more than that. It's like 6 a day, between 6 and 10 business reports every single day. That's how he keeps up, and that's how he keeps his skills honed to being successful. But he wasn't always successful. If you look at Warren Buffett's net worth over a period of time, it goes like that, and then it shoots up right at the end. And it's because right at the start, he didn't know what he was doing either. So with personal development, that might give you the confidence to keep going. That shining star that you were as a little kid, it might uncover that shining star. So some of the lessons that I learned from personal development is, one, don't let the little, and by the way, I'm not always successful at this, and I fail at this on a constant basis, by the way. And so we're constantly driving this forward. But number one is you're going to fail, right? And it's okay to fail, by the way. And it's okay to fail publicly too, although sometimes it's uncomfortable, but that's okay. One of the things I've noticed on forums, both on the internet forums and on Facebook forums, if you have any failures, so if you've got any dissolved limited companies, or if you resign from any, oh, that's really bad apparently. But again, it's a lack of knowledge. What if SPAs, a special purchase, special purchase agreement? Like you might set up a business, specifically create a limited company to buy another company. You buy it, you sell it, you close the business down. That's how it can work. But other people see that and go, oh, well, look, he resigned from that business, and so that must be a failure, not knowing that you sold your shares to six-figure sum. That's actually how it works with people, right? So number one is that you are going to have failures, and the idea is that you fail forwards. Number two is that do not let the small things affect the big thing. And this is one of the things that we're all guilty of, you as well as me. We let these small little situations, these little issues that crop up from time to time, and we let them direct our entire life. Let me give you an example. Let's say you've got someone and they're not paying rent right now and they're not moving out. That's a big issue right now because people are going to be not paying rent for 12 months, right? Because of COVID and all that kind of thing. That can be a massive issue. And I've seen people and they're saying, do you know what? I'm done with property. I've had enough. I'm not doing this anymore. That is crazy. You're letting this once in a lifetime, literally, it is once in a lifetime event, affect you, not just your entire future financial, your entire financial future. You're letting it affect your children's entire financial future and your grandchildren ad hominem. Is that the right word? I might be making stuff up here. All the way down for generations and generations and generations. That's what we're building right now, is generational wealth. That's the whole point. People go, oh, you shouldn't be allowed to pass your wealth on. what's the bloody point then? You just get to a certain point and you'd stop. The plan is to pass it all down. But just having this one little negative event or a big negative event should not affect you further down the line, shouldn't stop you from going for your dreams and going for your goals. And people go, so you say this to people and you go, I'm going to start a business, I'm going to do this. And people go, well, that won't work. Well, why won't it work? Well, you've started that business up 3 times and it's not worked so far. Great. Well, it'll work on the 4th time or the 5th time or the 6th time. Chicken Soup for the Soul, I can't remember how many people turned him down. Like 300 people turned down the book Chicken Soup for the Soul. #1 worldwide bestseller, New York Times bestseller. Absolutely crazy. You're going to let 200 people put you off? Why would you do that? That's personal development. That's one of the reasons why you do personal development, is to get above that and to remind yourself how amazing you and I actually are. Because you are. You're amazing. You might not feel like it. And it's really easy not to feel like it, by the way. So let me give you an example. So we're in end of August. If I was to ask you now to write down 5 things that you're really, really proud of, could you do it? I'd be really interested. Like, think of 5 things that you've done, that you've accomplished this year, that you're really proud of. I'm just going to grab a quick drink of this Coca-Cola I'm drinking. Other Cokes are available. But I want you to just have a think about 5 things that you're really proud of. Now, most people can't do that. Most people would struggle to do that. I remember doing this once, and we were in April a couple of years ago with a wife, and we're writing down things that we're proud of that we've accomplished from the start of the year up to end of April, which is when we were doing the little task. I wrote down like 3 or 4 things, and there was one really big thing, and I literally just could not remember what it was at all, but it was playing on the back of my mind, and I knew it was something amazing. And then it hit me. I remembered what it was, and it was breaking an arrow with your throat. You know where you put the, don't do this at home, by the way, but you put the arrow tip there, just in that bit there, and then you put the arrow there, and you walk towards it, and you split the arrow. It's an amazing thing to accomplish, right? Yeah, they do this at many personal development trainings. That was an amazing development because it's mind over matter. Completely forgot about it, and I'm sure you as an individual were all very, very good at telling ourselves off, reminding us how crap we are, replaying the argument we had when we were like 13 or 9, or when you got bullied in school when you were 6, and whatever that happens to be, right? We're very good at going back and beating ourselves up over this. What we're not good at is going back and going, I did this and I did that, and I'm proud of this and I'm proud of that. We've got millions of pounds of property, and I forget to be proud over that fact. It's crazy, right? So personal development for me is like buying the Ferrari. I haven't got the body of a Ferrari right now, that's for sure, but I should be a Ferrari, okay? And performing to your very best. But in order to do that, you need the fuel to put into the Ferrari, okay, which is you. And the fuel to put into you when you're running low on fuel, you've got to recharge. And that for me, for the last 5 or 10 years, has been personal development training courses. And some people call them course junkies and all of that kind of thing. And I don't like that word. One person's course junkie is another person's refueling station. I've done UPW, Unleash the Power Within, with Tony Robbins like 2 or 3 times now. That's been my refueling station. I've done a load of Chris Howard stuff. They've been my refueling station. You're going along, you're doing all these things, you get hit, constantly getting hit from people online, getting hit from trolls, getting hit from your own internal dialogue with yourself, blaming yourself for stuff, right? Having a go at yourself for stuff. And then you go on a personal development, you get all happy clappy, you write down your goals, you realign what's important to you, and you're back and you're refueled and you're 100 mile an hour like a rocket booster. Okay, you're being boosted forwards, and then after a while, guess what happens? It might be 6 months, might be 9 months, it might be 5 years. I don't know what the time period is, but you run out of juice, you run out of momentum, and then you go on your next training course, and you get your goals aligned, and you get your focus aligned, and you understand why you're doing it and how you're doing it, and why, you know, for your kids and for your family and all of that kind of stuff. And then you refueled again, and then you're off again. Like for me, one of the biggest difficulties I've had in lockdown is an inability to go anywhere. Like the last thing I went to was a business buying event in February, and it was brilliant to be surrounded by other successful business owners who want more success by buying businesses. And it was amazing. Last one should have been in July. That was cancelled, obviously. The next one should have been in September. That's been cancelled, obviously. And now we might be who knows where. The next thing I've got lined up is Funnel Hacking Live in February in Boise, Idaho. I doubt whether that's actually going to go ahead as well. And if it is going to go ahead, do I really want to be in a room with 3,000 people? And if I do, maybe I'm going to wear a hazmat suit with an internal air conditioning unit to keep me cool. But like, I'm missing out on that stuff. And so these refueling stops definitely affect. And so then building up your network of friends, the people that you're going to hang out with, and making sure that they are confident with you, on your side, prepared to deep dive with you, to, you know, if you've got to stop somewhere where something's not working in your life, and they're prepared to challenge you on your pre-designed ideas of what something looks like. That's what coaching will do anyway, by the way, is to reframe some of these ideas. And so that's maybe what you need right now. But don't poo-poo personal development. I know you don't, but other people do. And those other people that do right now are actually the people that need it. I always remember a Boss advert, and the advert was, it was a guy, but he wore Boss, right? So it must be cool, Boss aftershave. And he was like, he's riding on a top deck of a bus, and he goes, riding in an open top convertible, not for me. The camera pulls back and he's riding on the top deck of a bus. I'm like, dude, I don't want to be you. I want to be the guy in the convertible Ferrari or convertible Porsche. I was thinking about that earlier today, actually. It might be time for a Porsche again. But I don't want to be the guy on the top deck of a bus just because I'm wearing, you know, Boss aftershave. If that's your goal in life, you need to restack your goals. You need to get onto personal development. If you're going, well, I want to do £1 million a year, and 10 years in you go, oh no, it's too hard. Let me get rid of this fly. And you go, no, it's too hard. You need to get back on personal development. You need to listen to Grant Cardone and Gary Vee and whatever that is. Those podcasts, for me, sometimes are the little pit stops. I think Gary Vee is excellent, and I think Grant Cardone from time to time is full of bullshit, quite frankly. And some of the stuff that he's doing about the mask stuff, I completely disagree with. But the thing I like about him is you listen to him, 3 minutes into listening to Grant, you're like, okay, I've got this. I know what I'm doing. I can switch it off and I'm back on and I'm ready to go. It's not the same as a live event. It's not the same as eyes closed, listening to Braveheart music as you're writing your goals and you're visualizing your goals for a quantum goal setting hypnotic induction, which I actually used to do from stage even for clients. It's not the same as that, but it's a good alternative while we're in lockdown. And so once lockdown goes, once we get a vaccine, get yourself back on track, get yourself out to all these events, go network as much as you can in events that are going to be positive for your mindset, and surround yourself with positive people and get rid of people that are not positive in your life, because they're only going to hold you back. So when you're looking at where you want to be in 10 years, more than likely those people who are not positive in your life shouldn't be in your life in 10 years, because they're the ones that are going to hold you back. Anyway, right, I'm going to go get some food. So I hope that's useful for you. Just wanted to get some thoughts that I had about personal development and about some of the forums I've seen poo-pooing personal development. And I'm like, you've not quite understood what it actually is if you're poo-pooing people, and I hate that word, poo-pooing, but if you're putting down people happy clappy at events, you kind of miss the point. You're kind of one of those people who are taking the piss out of someone else whilst being a failure at your own stuff, and that's not going to work well for you over the next 10 years. And I know it's not you, it's the other people, right? All right, hope that's useful. We'll catch up with you next week. Have a great weekend, and we'll speak to you soon. My name's Dan Latto.